Hello and welcome back to session 3. So with me, your mentor for the time being, Faye Semple. I am a spiritual life and business coach, and one of the things I use, one of the tools that I use within that broad spectrum is dowsing, pendulum dowsing. And I am passionate actually about helping people to master dowsing because, as I've explained, it's a fantastic way of developing ourselves personally, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. So welcome back for session 3. If you've not watched the other sessions and you're jumping ahead, I would recommend that you go back to watch the first one and then the second one, because they are progressive. Give yourself the gift of time and attention to work through the exercises. And after the lessons, you will find prompts to help you complete the workbook and a homework thread in the Dowsing and Geomancy Facebook group. So if you want to come in and join that, I'll be in there helping you additionally with the work. So in session 1, we looked at the mechanism of dowsing, how dowsing actually works, and what your dowsing responses are. So we looked at the mechanism for dowsing and establishing a yes and no response. And then in session 2, we looked at how to ask dowsing questions so we can get consistent and accurate answers. That's key. It's no good getting an answer that isn't consistent or that isn't accurate, because down that route madness lies. And in session 3 now, we're going to be looking at how we can ensure that we're not influencing our answer, so that we're getting the answer that we want to hear, a convenient answer, rather than the answer that we actually need, the truth. And again, there is a process to ensuring this when we go through the dowsing mechanism. So, are you influencing your answer? I touched on this in session 2. What we are seeking is the truth. We do not want an answer that's convenient, that's just going to keep us stuck where we are if we're looking to make change. That's going to keep us eating the same diet, that's making us ill because we don't want to give up red wine or cheese. We're not looking for an answer that's going to keep us stuck in an unserving relationship that's run its course because there's too much difficulty in getting out of that relationship. We're not looking for an answer that says, yeah, it's best to stay in your job and stay in the rat race, because that makes us feel like we've got a regular income, when our soul is calling us to set up our soul business so that we can serve from that magical intersection where our amazing gifts meet the needs of the world. There are people out there who need us. We all come with something divine. We all come with something to give that's going to help the masses and help the world. And if we feel called to make that decision, then we want to make it, not go, you know what, I'm terrified of not having employment, therefore I'm going to influence my answer. Dowsing inevitably involves us looking for the truth, and we have to know we can handle that truth. So we are seeking, line 1 of your workbook is, we are seeking the truth. Second thing, we have no vested interests. If we think this is the way it's got to be, I can't see a way out, or it really must happen this way, I'm not prepared to give that up, I'm not prepared to make these changes, we have vested interests, and that will influence our dowsing. So we really have to take a good look at where we're thinking, how we're thinking and feeling out things, how we're limiting ourselves in our views of the situation or our beliefs about certain things. These will all keep us in, a place where we're not seeking the truth, or we have a vested interest. And that is, in the long run, not going to help us. Thirdly, we need to be open-minded. We don't know what incredible possibilities are out there. We don't know what the universe can send us if we open ourselves up to possibilities. But if we think, I can't do that, or that's not possible for me, we've instantly blocked off all the great things that the universe can send to us. So we need to be open-minded. So we're open to receiving this information. So we're open to the opportunities that will then come our way. We're open to taking action that we may not have otherwise considered. Our own beliefs about what is possible in the universe are based upon mostly our past, or what's been possible for our parents or our peers or our friends around us. So if we've lived in a community that doesn't isn't very healthy, or doesn't create success, or never travels, or never does anything different. That's our mindset, and we can get stuck in that. And actually, that doesn't serve us. So we're seeking the truth. We want to have no vested interests, and we need to be open-minded. And this is because of how our mind runs the show. So you've got a little pyramid on your workbook that represents your mind. Now, the top little tiny part, that's your conscious mind. That's your day-to-day monkey mind that you think runs the show. It's your mind that hears the alarm go off in the morning, gets up and says, right, I've got to go make a cup of tea or coffee. I've got to get showered. I've got to go to work. I've got to get the kids ready for school. I've then got to go to work all day. I've got to do all these tasks. I've got to come back, collect the kids from school. I've got to go shopping, make the evening meal, do the washing, tidy up. That's your conscious mind that sat there going, I can do this. I'm not very good at that. I can't achieve this. Why does nobody like me? Why am I hopeless? All those are our conscious mind thoughts. But it's actually a tiny proportion of the activity that goes on in your brain. So if we look at the activity in your brain, the conscious mind is really a tiny part of all those neurons firing off. There's so many million neural networks in the mind, and our conscious mind uses only a tiny part of them. So what's using the rest? What is all this activity in our mind if our conscious mind is a small part, sort of almost an ill-equipped captain that is steering the ship? What's all the crew doing? So we talk about the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, but when we get into dowsing, I want to take that a step further. There are actually kind of like three minds. There's the conscious mind, the subliminal mind, and then there's the subconscious mind. So the subliminal mind is actually what we call the sixth sense. So the sixth sense, we now know, is really, it's aware of things that are in and around us that it filters out from our conscious mind. So for instance, you probably don't know that you can actually physically hear traffic up to 5 miles away, but your subliminal mind blocks out that information so that your conscious mind doesn't get overwhelmed. It's your subliminal mind that can pick up on the fact that we're walking over a piece of ground that has raised level of geomagnetic frequencies that is indicative of the presence of underground water. Your subliminal mind registers that, your pineal gland registers that within your brain. But we've learned to filter all this information out in our modern world because it's unnecessary. I no need to longer know where to dig for water because I just turn on the tap. I don't need to hear raging buffalo approaching me or a saber-toothed tiger from 5 miles away because I'm safe now. So we filter out a lot of information. So it's our subliminal mind that recognizes, for instance, when someone's come in the room behind us, even if we've never heard them, we get a sense of suddenly of, I'm not alone. That's your subliminal mind. That's what's now called the sixth sense. The subconscious mind, this is most of the iceberg that's under the water. Now, our subconscious mind is like a program. It's like a bank of information. And it isn't judgmental or anything like that. So our conscious mind will say things like, oh, do I look fat in this dress? Oh, why does nobody like me? I look so fat. Is that why people don't like me? Because I'm fat? So we think these things, and it's like that's the program that goes into our subconscious mind. It doesn't question that. It doesn't look at you and go, yeah, you're not fat, and people do like you. What are you thinking? It just sits there and go, that's the program. I'm fat and nobody likes me. Doesn't question it, doesn't do anything about it. It's just really a repository actually for our most prevalent thoughts. And it's that really that runs the ship. It's really that runs the show, that steers us subconsciously through life so that we come up against the same lessons and the same blocks. The characters and the people who play the characters in our life might be different, but we'll keep, for instance, finding ourselves in relationships with narcissists, or this problem will keep cropping up in our lives. It'll just be represented by different people. So we might have an issue with bullying that will turn up at school, it'll turn up at college, it'll turn up in our job. And we're thinking, why is everybody bullying me all the time? It's because we're running a program that allows us to be bullied. You know, I'll often see people say, why do I attract narcissists? You don't attract narcissists, you simply allow them in your life. You're running on a program that has no boundaries. We know, and I can get the, I got a gold star for that one. So, we need to reprogram ourselves. So we need to consciously change our thoughts so we can influence this subconscious programming. This is why we practice affirmations and positive thinking, because our subconscious mind then, right, if you get up every day and look in the mirror and say, I am fat and nobody likes me, your subconscious mind takes that as truth, objective truth. I'm fat and nobody likes me. So it steers your behaviors along that subconscious programming. But if you get up every day and look in the mirror and you go, I'm intelligent, I'm fun, everybody likes me, then you start to live your life with an energy of I'm intelligent, I'm fun, and everybody likes me. And then the universe responds accordingly. So it reacts as though you're fun, you're intelligent, and everybody likes you. And that becomes your reality. So we would really need to understand how our mind works. And that's really important when it comes to dowsing, because we can be running in a programming that doesn't believe certain things are possible for us. So you might want to ask a question, is it in my best interest, for instance, to start an internet business like I did? But you might think, oh, it's too hard work, I can't do it. You've got all these additional beliefs running around in your head. So then you'll influence the outside. It's too hard, I can't possibly learn the skills, you'll think. So those will influence your dowsing question. So it's really important that we want to, remove that subconscious programming that could influence, or be aware of that subconscious programming that can influence our responses. So we talked yesterday about that ladder that got us over the wall of uncertainty, confusion, and frustration, over the wall, and there's the light bulb moment. So what that does is it helps us to do that. It helps us to move past subconscious programming. Because what it does when we're focusing on the question and we're centering on our feelings and we're focusing on the question again, and we've asked a carefully worded, concise, explicit, and unambiguous question, that is where our energy is focused. And there's none of this rubbish thinking going on in the background. So what it does, that process, is it detaches the analytical mind. It doesn't give us time or space to have doubts and think it's not possible, I'll never achieve that, oh, it's going to be too hard to give up wine, cheese, exercise every day. But it blocks out those thoughts because we are asking questions, and it makes the outcome more achievable. So you might think, I really need to lose some weight and get fitter, and all you're thinking is seeing on your phone as you scroll is all these fitness gurus that tell you you've got to do all these things. But if you douse for it, the answer might be less overwhelming. Should I take, not should I, the question would be, how many times a week would it benefit me to exercise at this new current state of health? And it might say, well, you need to exercise for 20 minutes 3 times a week. Your dowsing might tell you, while you're this and fit, to help you get moving again, for instance. And then you can ask, well, what is the best form of exercise for me to take? It might be walking, might be swimming, might be tennis. It might be a mixture of all three. But then, the duration is play tennis for 20 minutes once a week, walk for 20 minutes, and also it's less overwhelming. So the process of the questions that going up, it's relaxed, focus, the sequence, and then the question. What that does is detaches the analytical mind. That is what it's for. And it focuses us. And the next step, as I said, the 4 rungs on your little sheet there next to the ladder. So focus on the question. Focus on the question you have asked, and not all these other thoughts that might be coming in. If you find these thoughts coming in, then you want to really shut the dowsing session down, go away, do something else, and come back to it later. because you're likely to influence your answer. So we focus on the question. We keep focusing on the question. We have it written on a piece of paper. As I said, we read it written out in our mind's eye. We imagine writing it on a blackboard in a piece of chalk, or with a board marker on a whiteboard, or typing it out on your smartphone. But you see those letters, you see those words being formed. You focus, 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 and focus on the question again. That is because we're looking for the truth. And then we want to qualify our answers. As I said, this is really important. We want to make sure that to get over that wall of confusion, frustration, and uncertainty, that the answers that we've got are the best that we can get at that time for what energy or whatever is available to us at this stage of our growth and development. Because the universe wants us to achieve great things. It wants us to fulfill our soul potential, but it can only really give us what we're capable of handling at that time. It will try and keep us moving forward. It will try and keep us growing, but it's, I might want to become a 7-figure business owner, say, but when I'm starting out, it can't give me the challenges that a 7-figure business owner would be able to handle, because I haven't got that skills and experience. What it will give me is something to challenge me at this level, and then I'll grow and it'll send me another challenge, then I'll grow and it'll send me another challenge, then I'll grow and it'll send me another challenge. And that growth is what enables me to become the person with the skills and experience I need to be that 7-figure business owner. So that's why we want to, we've got to accept that some of these decisions are gonna challenge us, and that certain times the universe can't send us everything we need to know. If I'm down here, it can't send me the information that person can handle. It can send me the information that I can handle at this time that's going to enable me to take that next step. So we want to qualify those answers to make sure that they're the ones that we need to take that next step. And this is again where your dowsing comes in. So we want to ask these qualifying questions that I mentioned yesterday. If you've gone through a dowsing session and you've asked questions about, as I mentioned, you might be thinking of moving house. Is it your interest to move? Where would be the best location for you to move to? Taking everything into consideration. When is it, when is it timely and appropriate for you to put your house on the market? At what price point should you put it on? And then you calibrate your answers with the different price points. Which is the best estate agent or realtor in your area that you need to work with to get this result? All these kind of qualifying questions that we need to ask, we need to go through that. And then at the end of the session, these are several questions that we need to ask that I mentioned yesterday. So the first one is, have I misinterpreted the information in any way? Yes or no? Have I misunderstood the information in any way? And you'll get a yes or no answer. Have I made assumptions about the information in any way? And you will get a yes or a no answer. And then you can still ask things like, is it timely and appropriate for me to ask these questions now? All these kind of things, because it means there might be more information available to you that you just can't access yet. Or some limiting belief about what's possible for you has caused you to make some assumptions that aren't quite right, or you've misinterpreted the information, or you've just misunderstood it because you didn't have the knowledge. And this is why, research things that you're dowsing as well, read about them, because if you don't know that certain vitamins can do certain things in your body, you're not going to ask that question, for instance. So try and inform yourself as much as possible about the things that you're looking into. If you're thinking of moving house, you can just kind of pin in an area, but if you've got an idea of where you want to go, research a little bit about the area so you'll be better informed about the possibilities that are available to you when you live there. So those are the things that we need to look at. We need to know that we are not influencing answer. So ultimately we're seeking the truth. We don't want to have any vested interests, and we need to be open-minded. What we're trying to do is to get over any negative repeated conscious thoughts that we have that are running a subconscious program that is basically running the show, that is creating a life of scarcity and hardship and lack of fulfillment. perhaps in our lives, because I know I was there. And that was because I was running on subconscious programming that I'd learned very early in life that many of my family had, that kept us in poverty and hardship. And I had poor boundaries. I was a people pleaser. So I just wasn't getting the traction and the joy and the success in my life. So I had to consciously change my thinking to change my reality. And that's what we're trying to do. And the process that we went through yesterday of, relaxing, focusing on the questions, centering ourselves, and, really then, what was the question? Focusing, relaxing, focusing, the dowsing sequence, which was clear, center, and connect, and then ask a precise, clear, and unambiguous question. That is what detaches the analytical mind. When we go through that process, when we focus, and focus again, that is what will help us leave this subconscious programming behind. So in video 1, as I said, we looked at how dowsing actually works and understanding your dowsing responses, yes and no. In session 2, we looked at this, how to ask questions for consistent and accurate answers, because there is that process that we go through. And so the dowsing mechanism begins long before we actually ask a question. Then we've asked a question today. We've looked at how we could possibly be influencing an answer and the steps that we can make sure that we don't do that. And that relies on us knowing that we're seeking the truth, knowing that we can handle it, and knowing that we have some subconscious beliefs and thoughts that could be hindering us from achieving our best potential. So in session 4 tomorrow, we're really going to be looking at how you can apply this to your health and well-being on all levels. And I have something, and the next step. So I have something really special coming up for you in session 4. So you're really going to want to watch that. So yeah, I will see you for session 4 in the next video, and you're going to love it.